Hello guys, welcome to an XVTO new video, and in this video I'm gonna give an update on the price of Bitcoin. So today is Tuesday, another Bitcoin weekly candle close, and we're gonna pick up from where we left last week. So we're gonna be analyzing the DXY and Bitcoin ratio, Bitcoin dominance, and the Total2. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Firstly, like we mentioned last week, we're gonna have to see where Bitcoin actually got rejected or struggled, and for that reason, we're gonna use our Fibonacci tool to find where Bitcoin struggled. And as we can see, Bitcoin struggled exactly at the Fibonacci 0.618. So 17,000. Last week, I mentioned that the range between 0.6 and 0.7, so 117,000 and 120,000 would be the range where Bitcoin would struggle. So for that reason, you can see that Bitcoin retested our 0.618 and got rejected. This rejection was so hard that the week actually closed below, exactly below the 0.5 Fibonacci, which is where, of course, we closed 2 weeks ago. So closing this week candle below 0.5, that means that we were not able to um, find support above 0.5, which means 115,000. And for that reason, we were expecting this week to do the job, but it didn't. So we tested, got rejected at 0.618, and even closed below this level again. So meaning nothing else happened. We still closed candle below 0.5, and this signal, of course, or caused this week, the current week, to actually break down. Breaking down is not a bad thing. You can see that although we already retested as low as 111,000, that means we actually retesting the 110,000 level. Is very close to this level. But the good thing is that we need to hold 110,000 as support. That means we cannot lose this start closing weekly candle but consecutively below the 110,000 level. So where do we expect, what do we expect Bitcoin to do for the next few weeks is to hold the 110,000 level. And I'm going to switch to the daily chart just to give you context for us to understand why or the current level is so important for Bitcoin. So using Fibonacci level to find where Bitcoin, what Bitcoin is doing at the moment, we can see that the push from this low to the rejection at 117,000, we can see that this current move is now retesting Fibonacci 0.618, which is 111,000 and very close to our 110,000 level. And these must hold because Bitcoin had a run from 107,000 to 117,000, and this correction is perfectly normal. perfectly normal because it's now still respecting the Fibonacci 0.6. So this is a healthy correction. And if we hold, 0.6, which is the golden pocket, that means Bitcoin can consolidate a little bit, above our 110,000 and then continue to move to the upside. One thing that would be a concern is if Bitcoin fail hold 110,000 and basically come to start retesting as low as the Fibonacci 1.618. It's possible, you know, but it would be dangerous to see Bitcoin now retesting $101,000. This could happen, but because we need to hold 110,000, I think this current correction is perfectly normal and healthy if it continues to consolidate around this level and start pushing up. So back to the weekly candle. So that means we need to start closing candles above the 110,000 level. With this in mind, you can see that the DXY did not gain more strength, still red, still weak, but still consolidating. You can see that last week DXY tested as low as 96.2, made a new lower low. It's a lower level for the DXY in a very long time, as you can see. Made a lower low since the bull market started. This is as low as the DXY reached during this time. So it's good. It's one weak point, another weak point for DXY. And this is why I think the 110,000 of Bitcoin should hold, while the DXY is actually making new lows. I believe that for us to hold 110,000 level, we need to see DXY below the 90. So very close to this bottom, retesting this bottom. This would give Bitcoin a lot of strength to keep pushing or hold the level that we are now considering to be important. The DXY and Bitcoin ratio. So now that we understand what happened to Bitcoin, where we got rejected, we can see that the ratio is moving sideways, but the most important focus goes to the RSI. We can see the RSI respected this trend line last week. This is where we retested below the 110, quickly recover. But now with this rejection, we can see why is it important for Bitcoin to hold on the 10,000 level. And you can see that the RSI is currently touching this trend line again, meaning lower than this is not acceptable. It can happen, but it's not ideal. As you can see, the RSI is retesting this trend line again. What we want is for it to respect this trend line, downward trend line, and continue to push down toward our at 18.62 and not breaking this downward trend line to the upside and play with the 50 level. This would mean lower price for Bitcoin or even beginning of something more dangerous. So the total 2, which is the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin, this chart reads all the altcoin excluding Bitcoin. And we can see, last week we said that it would be great for the total 2 to continue to close kind of above the 1.62 trillion. You can see that the total 2 close this candle. You can see a close above the 1.62. This is the current week, but the week that just closed, we can see that it closed around 1.67, 1.67, which is great. You can see that managed to close above the 1.62, and the current week, of course, is retesting below this level. But the good thing is that we managed to close above. But because this week is already retesting below, you can see that the RSI closed just on the line, getting ready for the breakout. But this week is still retesting, and you can see the RSI is showing signs of rejection below this downward trend line. But we wanted to see the RSI breaking and giving confirmation that the total 2 is ready to move up. But we also mentioned that unless Bitcoin break above the Fibonacci level that we mentioned, that Bitcoin would struggle and start pushing toward the middle of our channel, altcoin would not perform, because Bitcoin is what leads the market and takes altcoin along for the ride. And until Bitcoin make a decision to move to the upside, we're not going to see the total 2 actually giving this confirmation. So far, we are just waiting. Everything is waiting for Bitcoin to make this decision. But we know that we have a positive close for the total 2, which is great. So Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, we can see that the total 2 is struggling to actually confirm the breakout. Bitcoin is not able to close the candles above our Fibonacci level that we just discussed, and you can see the dominance is still holding, waiting for this move to happen. Of course, the dominance gained a little bit more strength. It's now consolidating above the mid of this upward channel, but it's just a matter of time. Everything is waiting for Bitcoin to make a decision, and as soon as we see Bitcoin breaking or holding and breaking this current resistance, we're going to be able to see the dominance fall below, because the total 2 will take over and follow Bitcoin. So the dominance will be breaking to the downside, or at least consolidating at the current level. Crypto fear and greed index. Last week we didn't analyze this one, but today we're not going to miss that. And we can see that currently the market is showing signs of fear. Yesterday the same thing, but last week we were actually neutral, as Bitcoin was actually just waiting to see if we could break the current resistance. But because we couldn't, you can see the sentiment already switched to fear. Already switched to fear, and fear in the market is a good thing. We all know that, but this is something that we need to learn to deal with. And where there's fear, there's opportunity, and where there's greed, extreme greed, it has a lot of risk attached. This megaphone shape promise is still in play, and what we need to see is Bitcoin holding again under the 10,000 level, making new highs, where we could see extreme greed coming into the market again, and most likely breaking this megaphone shape formation to the upside. That's the update for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing this video with your friends and family. And I will see you next week. Bye.